Happy news, warrior. Happy news. I am here to report that Maine, the great state of Maine, has become the first state in the United States to pass the equality model into law. You have to understand what all of this means. With all of the dark and ugly and overwhelming headlines, I am beyond thrilled. And let me tell you why. We in New York, where I live, wanted to be the first ones to be able to pass the equality model into law, but we will take anything we get. Uh, Maine beat us. It's great because the state of Maine, as of yesterday, laid out the framework of what can happen in each and every state in the United States. What the equality model does, very simply, it prevents you, me, all of us, from having a brothel next door, from legalizing pimping, legalizing human trafficking, legalizing these illicit spas. It works on ending demand, something we don't talk about with sex trafficking in the sex trade, ending demand, because there's that common kind of myth out there. If somebody pays for it, they deserve whatever they're paying for. Or that old argument I hear all the time, if it's non-consensual, if it's consensual and there's monies exchanged, it's fine. But I'm here to tell you, if you follow the warriors, the equality model, sometimes called the Nordic model, the abolitionist model, you have to understand this is a moment in history in the United States. I interviewed today Taina Bename, and she is part of our New Yorkers for the Equality Model. She's an attorney. She's also the executive director of the Coalition Against Trafficking in Women. It's called CATW for short. She knows her stuff. And that is one of the oldest organizations, not only in the United States, but across the world, that is dedicated to ending human trafficking and gender-based violence, the gender being women, and discrimination. And it is tough to get any kind of media presence with these issues and spread awareness. But I had Taina on my show today, State of the Nation, on TNT, and we got into it. And again, this is history for the United States that everybody should be talking about, because Maine joins Sweden and France and Norway, Canada, and many other jurisdictions around the world that decriminalize people in prostitution, yet hold the sex buyers and exploiters, that would be the pimps, everybody, the traffickers, accountable. Now, decriminalizing the prostitution, because we have the studies, because we know from our work, boots on the ground, that most of these people in the sex trade, most are coerced, forced, no other choice. And that is the definition of human trafficking. So by passing the equality model in the state of Maine and laying out this framework for what every other state can do, it will help that prostituted person with resources to get psychological and medical help. It will also help expunge their criminal records if they deserve so. You have to remember, with these crimes of trafficking, that these pimps, these controllers, get those people to do these other crimes. They get them to do their dirty work. That is the best way I can explain all of this. And those crimes can range from theft to drugs to getting other people involved in the sex trade, which is trafficking. And that's what they do. They keep their hands, quote unquote, clean. So truly, history was made. And it really is a breath of fresh air, because there is so much horror surrounding the sex trafficking, sex trade, abuse of children, abuse of all people, that it's funny because somebody said to me yesterday, how do you do this, the work you do? Because remember, warriors, we do a lot of things behind the scenes and we go nonstop. And, the best way I could explain it is I have a line down the middle of my head, an imaginary line, and I keep my warrior work, because I am driven driven to make a difference, driven to show others how they can make a difference, driven to affect one person a day, whether I educate them, whether I make a connection, whether I help a survivor. You have to look at it that way because it's too big and overwhelming. So we applaud Governor Janet Mills signing something called an Act to Reduce Commercial Sexual Exploitation and a quality model to help these sex trade survivors and hold the criminals, because in this country we're letting the criminals go. They rule the roost. I live in New York City. They seem to get everything. You know what I'm talking about. So we applaud the state of Maine. It is a legal framework, now legislation that other states can easily follow. Maine makes history. I think we should all be talking about it. You can follow more. Go to lynswarriors.org. Also, Facebook and Twitter. Share it. That's a Warriors Take Action, sharing this information. But I also want to add there's a second part to this great information. Second really great part. They're both great. The state of Michigan just became the 10th state in the United States to ban child marriage. I know, child and marriage do not belong ever together, but that's what we call it. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed this legislation into effect. We now have 10 states that ban child marriage and 40 states more we are working on. But this is absolutely great, great news. The idea is 18 no exceptions. You cannot consent as a minor. You cannot enter into contracts. 18. And every single state has a different rule about a minor getting married. Some states are your parent can give consent and you could basically be 5 years old. Some states have 16, 17. A judge can sign off. Everybody different. Not surprisingly, though, I will point out the state of California, along with 7 other states, has no floor. That is the most frightening thing. I wish people knew about it. No floor means technically a newborn could marry a 50-year-old man. Now, the problem with this, when you say that is not true, that is disgusting, that won't happen, is that we know women are giving birth to provide these traffickers with babies. So the criminals can hide behind these marriage laws. This is a big part of it. And why not wait until you're 18 when it's out of all of our, our control? Why not? Some states, we've gotten it from, 14 to 16. Some we've gotten it from 16 to 17. I don't understand. If you cannot enter into a contract, you cannot hire a lawyer, you're not considered a legal adult, but you're allowed to get married. But tonight we want to focus on the positive. We have 2 great things we want to share with you. 2 great warrior actions. We have been working tremendously hard behind the scenes to raise awareness, to educate you. Please share. We have Maine becoming the first state in the United States to pass equality model into law. Take it from me, this is a great thing for people in the sex trade who desperately want to get out, and holding those accountable who cause harm and those who buy sex. Remember, the demand is for children. Second, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed into legislation banning child marriage. It must be 18, no exceptions. So tonight, let's just revel in this great information. Let's take any positives we can get. Let's share the information. And thank you all for watching these videos. I want to give out little tidbits and nuggets of information that are easy for you. I don't want to create very long videos. People will tune out because that's what analytics show. But what can you do? Always lynswarriors.org. Great newsletter going out tomorrow. We send them out weekly Warriors newsletters. Sign up online. Go right there, scroll down on the right side, lynswarriors.org. E-newsletter, couldn't be simpler. We like to fill you in with things happening around the country and a little more in-depth about certain subjects. and also support us, donate if possible, help us, because our monies are spent on traveling, education. We give away workshops. We support survivors. We we have one goal, and that is giving you the information, getting out there, being a warrior. And in 2023, I think you can all agree, if you're watching this video, it's right in front of you. There is a war on for our children. There's a war on in the United States. And we have to face it. We have to be realistic. We have to keep an eye on the kids at all times. And it includes our teens. Digital safety, real-time safety. It's just a different world these days. So thank you for listening. I'll be putting out more videos. I'm going to try to do them much more often. But tune in always. We've got the Lynn's Warriors radio program on Saturdays at 3 p.m. TNT. We've got the Lynn's Warriors WVOX. We just did that today. That is also 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. And the Daily Show, State of the Nation, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., covering these topics as well as headlines and other things you need to know. So thank you for listening. And remember, each and every day, be a warrior.